He has led some of the biggest Western financial institutions, Credit Suisse Bank and the UK pensions giant Prudential. But now, Tidjane Thiam wants to take the helm of a vital, resource-rich West African country, the Ivory Coast. Last week, Mr. Thiam's coalition of political parties tried to make their way into a court case that he and they said was trying to block his bid for the presidency.
Would you be surprised if you were stopped in your tracks and your candidacy would be thrown out?
No, that's the general expectation, that my candidacy will be thrown out. It's the appearance of legality, but it has no grounds. Right? This is one of 390 people in my party who prompted this, has created this lawsuit and taking us to court where we know the outcome. It's already predetermined, but it's all going to look like a due process. Legality and justice are not always the same. During slavery was perfectly legal. Perfectly legal. Was it just? No.
You talked about key stakeholders. What about Western powers?
What I really think is that there's a background of racism there, and a lot of people feel that democracy is just too good for Africans. And they don't really need it, they don't really deserve it. And the kind of regimes we have, well, you know, TIA, this is Africa. Okay? So there's a tolerance. And this is something I really resent. I always fight so that Africans are judged exactly by held to the same criteria than the rest of the world.
Currently in Paris, he says he and his supporters have faced intimidation back home. He described to me how a recent party rally was harassed.
They went and they occupied the party headquarters. I went there personally. I stood between the police forces and our militants, and I told them, look, in life, you can't control events, but you can always control how you react to them. We're going to show them that we're a party of peace. There won't be a stone thrown. There won't be anything. You're going to be calm.
He says he will do everything to avoid going back to the all-too-familiar mistakes that led to the civil war in 2011.
There is no history of good elections in Côte d'Ivoire, none whatsoever. The last election without violence was in 1990. That's 35 years ago. We need to, I say, give up the Kalashnikov and the machete and the wooden stick and talk to each other.
If this can happen in Ivory Coast, what does it say about the rest of the continent?
It's very worrying. And the reason I'm fighting with such energy, the reason I'm sitting across from you today is that I think we can shape a different future for Africa. Some countries have been able to have a peaceful transition, change of president. Senegal has done it now several times. Ghana has just done it. But Côte d'Ivoire is struggling. And Côte d'Ivoire is vital for the stability. This is why I'm advocating that reason triumphs and that this time we don't resort to violence.
However, a regional election monitoring group's Ivory Coast representative had this to say.
With tension rising crescendo, without a real political will to face the situation, with the necessary lucidity, clashes could arise. We have seen what happened in 2010. What is needed now is concrete action from both sides, the opposition and the ruling party.
But even if he was to become president of the Ivory Coast, how would he deal with the Trump administration, which has all but cut aid off completely to the African continent?
I've actually had the honor of having dinner with Mr. Trump in Davos, and I know people around him. But the issue is the Ivorians. It's for the Ivorians to fight for their freedoms and conquer them. The US did that in 1776, France did that in 1789, the British did that with Magna Carta. You know, you see, in every country that enjoys a genuine democracy, it's not another country that came and handed it over to them.
What do you make of the cutting, effectively, of USAID, the foreign aid wing of the US government?
It goes to what I've said earlier. Ultimately, you can only count on yourself in this world. It's a very tough world. You cannot rely on other people's and other taxpayers' generosity.
The question now is, will he ever get to put his vision into practice? Raguillaume, News at 10.
The status quo is indefensible.